Most drivers have never heard of a single trick on this list, and that's why they keep paying for problems that shouldn't cost a thing. One of these can save you a repair bill before it even happens. A few quietly add years to how long your car lasts. And there's a reason mechanics rarely bring any of this up themselves. One trick, done wrong, can make your car more dangerous to drive. And the last one changes how fast your air conditioning cools down, saving you real money on every hot day. 15 tricks that sound made up, but hold up when you try them, starting with one that can save you an actual body shop bill. Hack number 1. Hot water and a plunger for dents. Hack number 1 combines two different effects, and it helps to know when to use each. On plastic bumpers, boil a kettle of water and pour it slowly, directly over the dent from about 6 inches away, for 30 seconds or so. The heat softens the plastic just enough to loosen its shape memory, and on a lot of shallow dents, that's enough for it to start popping back into place on its own. Follow up by pressing a wet sink plunger against the dent and pulling steadily to finish the job. On metal surfaces, like doors and fenders, hot water won't do much, since metal doesn't soften the same way, but the plunger alone, without the hot water step, still works on shallow, rounded dents, as long as the suction can seal against the surface. Pour a little cold water over the spot after using heat to help it set. It won't touch a crease, a crack, or chipped paint on either surface. But for the kind of shallow ding that would otherwise cost $200 to $500 at a body shop, all it costs is what's already boiling on your stove, or a $2 plunger. Hack number 2. Petroleum jelly on pedal pivots. Hack number 2, and this is one where the details actually matter. Petroleum jelly on your pedals. Not a thick layer. Not enough to leave them greasy. Driving with slippery pedals is the last thing you want, so skip any version you've seen online that tells you to coat them with Vaseline and leave it there. That version is genuinely dangerous. Here's the version detailers actually use. Apply a small dab of petroleum jelly to a clean microfiber cloth and gently rub it across the rubber pedal pads. As the petroleum jelly works into the surface, it loosens built-up grime, oxidation, and faded residue that ordinary cleaners often leave behind. Then grab a second, clean microfiber cloth and buff the pedals thoroughly until every trace of petroleum jelly is gone. The rubber ends up looking darker, cleaner, and much closer to its original factory finish, without feeling slippery. Total cost, practically nothing, since you probably already have a jar sitting at home. The alternative is spending money on expensive interior detailing products that often deliver the exact same visual result. Just remember, the job isn't finished until the pedals feel completely dry to the touch. If there's any oily residue left, keep buffing until it's gone. You're restoring the appearance of the rubber, not reducing the grip your foot depends on. Hold on to that jar, it's going to earn its keep a few more times before this list is over. Hack number 3. Bar soap on squeaky wiper blades. Hack number 3 follows the same idea, but for a noise that drives people even crazier. Squeaky wiper blades. Before you spend $20 on new ones, try this. Take a plain bar of soap and rub it directly along the rubber edge of each blade, covering the full length that touches the windshield. Squeaking almost never means your wiper rubber has failed. Usually there's a thin film of road wax, silicone residue from a car wash, or hardened grime sitting on that rubber edge, and the soap leaves behind a thin, slick coating that interrupts that uneven friction between blade and glass, what engineers call stick-slip friction, where the blade catches and releases over and over, and each release is that squeal you're hearing. Apply a light coat, run the wipers with the windshield wet, and let the water spread the soap evenly across the blade. If the squeak comes right back within a few days, that's your answer. The rubber itself is cracked or worn, not just in need of lubrication, and it's time for a replacement. Most manufacturers recommend swapping wiper blades every 6 to 12 months anyway, since UV exposure and hot glass slowly harden the rubber even when you never notice it happening. Hack number 4. Toothpaste on cloudy headlights. Hack number 4 deals with something almost every car develops eventually: cloudy, yellowed headlights. That haze isn't dirt. It's UV damage, the clear polycarbonate lens oxidizing and breaking down after years of sun exposure. A dab of regular, non-gel toothpaste on a microfiber cloth, rubbed in small circles over the lens for a minute or two, then rinsed off, works because toothpaste contains mild abrasives designed to polish enamel. Those same abrasives buff away the thin, damaged top layer of oxidized plastic. It's not permanent. The haze can creep back within a few months, since the lens itself is still aging, but it restores real brightness in the meantime, for free, against the $15 to $25 a restoration kit costs at the auto parts store, or the $50 to $100 some shops charge to do it for you. And dim, yellowed headlights aren't just cosmetic. They can cut your effective visibility at night by a wide margin, which is exactly why some states will flag it during a vehicle inspection. Speaking of that jar, it's not done yet. Hack number 5. Vaseline for tire shine and interior trim. Hack number 5 gets 2 results out of it. Rubbed thin onto tire sidewalls with a cloth, then buffed so nothing's dripping, petroleum jelly restores that deep, glossy black look you get right after driving off the lot. The same effect commercial tire dressing sells for $8 to $15 a bottle. It won't survive a rainstorm the way a silicone dressing does, so you'll reapply it more often, but it costs nothing extra since it's already in the house. The second job is inside the cabin. A very light coat rubbed onto matte plastic trim, the vertical faces of the dashboard, the center console, door panels, vent surrounds, then buffed until it's no longer greasy, brings back a deeper, fresher look to interior plastic that's gone dull over the years. Skip the flat top of the dashboard facing the windshield, and skip the steering wheel entirely. A glossy dash top can throw glare straight onto the glass in bright sun, and a slick steering wheel is the last thing you want your hands sliding on mid-turn. Kept to vertical, non-contact trim, it's the same kind of refresh some detailers charge $30 to $50 to do for you. Hack number 6. Vaseline for faded plastic trim. Hack number 6 fixes something almost every car develops after a few years in the sun. Unpainted plastic trim fading from black to a dull, chalky gray. That's the plastic itself oxidizing under UV exposure, the same process that clouds headlights, and it hits bumper trim, mirror caps, and door handle surrounds fastest. Rub a thin layer of petroleum jelly into the faded plastic with a microfiber cloth, working in small circles, then buff off anything still sitting on the surface. It temporarily darkens the oxidized layer and adds a light sheen, restoring most of that original black look for a few weeks, which is exactly what dedicated trim restorer products do for $10 to $20 a bottle. It's not permanent, since the UV damage underneath doesn't reverse, so plan on reapplying it every few weeks. But against replacing faded trim pieces outright, which on some vehicles runs well over $100 a piece, a 2-minute wipe down is hard to beat. Hack number 7. Tire rotation. Hack number 7 doesn't use any product at all. It's a habit most car owners simply forget: tire rotation. Front and rear tires wear differently because they do different jobs. The front ones carry most of the load through corners and braking, and on front-wheel drive cars, they're also the ones putting power to the road. Without rotation, the front tires wear out noticeably faster than the rear, and you end up replacing the whole set early, even with 2 tires still nearly new. The general rule is to rotate every 6,000 miles or so, roughly every 6 months, and plenty of shops do it for free with an oil change, or charge somewhere between $20 and $40 if it's done on its own. The exact rotation pattern depends on your tire type, directional or non-directional, and your car's drivetrain, so it's worth confirming the right pattern with a shop rather than guessing at home. What matters is the habit itself. Tires that wear evenly last considerably longer, and the gap between rotating every 6 months and never rotating at all can be the difference between replacing 2 tires or the full set of 4, which easily runs $400 or more. Now, not everything you've always been told about your car is actually true, and hack number 8 is worth mentioning specifically because of that. Hack number 8. The winter idling myth. Hack number 8 is really a myth worth retiring. Letting your engine idle for 5 or 10 minutes on a cold morning to warm it up. That advice made sense decades ago on carbureted engines that ran rough cold. It doesn't apply to any fuel-injected car built in the last 30-plus years. Modern engine computers adjust the fuel mixture automatically for cold starts, and the fastest way to actually warm your engine, transmission, and tires is gentle driving, not idling in the driveway. An idling engine only warms the block, slowly, while burning fuel for 0 miles. Driving at a moderate pace circulates warm oil through the whole drivetrain in a couple of minutes and gets your tires flexing too. Excess idling can even wash oil off the cylinder walls with unburned fuel, working against your engine instead of for it. Give it 30 seconds if it makes you feel better, then just drive gently instead of sitting still burning fuel. A modern engine idles through roughly a quarter to half a gallon of gas every hour for 0 miles. Real money over a whole winter of warm-ups that never needed to happen. Hack number 9. Shaving cream anti-fog trick. Hack number 9 solves a problem that shows up the second the weather turns. A fogged-up windshield you can barely see through. Coat the inside of your windshield with a thin layer of ordinary shaving cream, let it sit for about a minute, Then wipe it off completely with a clean, dry cloth until the glass looks clear, not white. Shaving cream contains surfactants, the same class of ingredient used in anti-fog sprays for scuba masks and ski goggles, and it leaves behind a microscopically thin film that changes how water behaves on the glass. Instead of condensing into thousands of tiny droplets that scatter light and create that hazy blindness, moisture spreads into an even, transparent sheet you can see through. One application typically holds up for several weeks, even through repeated humid mornings, outperforming the $8 to $12 commercial anti-fog sprays sold for the exact same purpose, using something you already own. Hack number 10. Pool Noodle Bumper Guard. Hack number 10 solves a problem anyone with a tight garage knows well: door dings and bumper scrapes from parking in the exact same spot every single day. Slice a pool noodle lengthwise down one side, and mount it to the garage wall at bumper height, or wherever your door edge usually makes contact, using a couple of screws or strong adhesive hooks. The foam compresses on contact instead of your paint or door edge taking the hit, and because it's mounted to the wall instead of the car, it works every time you pull in without you needing to remember anything. It costs about $5 and takes 10 minutes to install, against paintless dent repair that typically runs somewhere between $1 and several $100 depending on the size and location of the ding. If you park close to a support beam, storage shelf, or a second car, this is one of the cheapest insurance policies your garage will ever get. Hack number 11. The Tennis Ball Parking Guide. Hack number 11 is one of the simplest ways to park in exactly the same spot every time, especially in a garage with only a few inches of clearance in front of the bumper. Drill a small hole through a tennis ball, thread a length of string through it, and tie the other end to a hook or beam on the ceiling, adjusting the length so the ball hangs at the exact point where your windshield should stop. Pull in slowly, and the moment the ball taps the glass, you're perfectly positioned, close enough to leave room behind you, far enough that the garage door still closes without clipping your bumper or trunk. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but it removes the guesswork that leads to bumped shelving, cracked taillights, and dented garage doors. A busted taillight assembly alone can run over $100 once you add the part and the labor, especially for a newer driver in the household still learning the car's exact dimensions. This next one is the closest thing to a free inspection you'll ever get, and almost nobody actually does it. Hack number 12. Reading your oil like a mechanic does. Hack number 12 is something every shop does in the first 30 seconds of an inspection, and almost no owner ever does at home. Actually looking closely at the oil on the dipstick, not just checking the level. Pull it out, wipe it clean, dip it again, and this time pay attention to color and texture, not just where the line sits. Fresh oil is a clear amber. Dark brown to black is normal for oil that's simply due for a change, since oil naturally darkens as it picks up combustion byproducts. But a milky, coffee with cream color is a genuine warning sign. It usually means coolant is leaking into your oil, often from a failing head gasket, and that's a repair that can start around $1,000 and climb well past $2,000 the longer it's driven on before you catch it. A gritty or sandy texture between your fingers means metal particles are present, a sign of internal wear worth a second opinion. This 30-second check, done every couple of weeks, catches serious problems while there's still a repair, not a replacement. Hack number 13. Vaseline on your door seals. Hack number 13 sends that jar back to work one more time, on the rubber seals, and it solves the classic frozen door problem for good. Rubber weather stripping is porous, and when snow or rain seeps in during the day and temperatures drop overnight, that trapped moisture freezes and cements the door shut to the frame. A thin coat of petroleum jelly worked into the rubber creates a barrier water genuinely can't get through. It stays soft even well below freezing, unlike a water-based product that would just freeze along with everything else. Wipe it on once in early winter and it typically holds through the whole season. Modern weather stripping is synthetic rubber, which holds up fine to occasional petroleum jelly. Unlike the older rubber compounds, this trick would break down decades ago, so it's safe on what's actually sealing your doors today. It's the same fix some owners' manuals used to recommend outright, before silicone products took over the shelf, and unlike a $15 can of de-icing spray every winter, this jar just keeps giving. Hack number 14. The tow hook hidden in your bumper. Hack number 14 isn't something you apply. It's a factory feature hiding in plain sight on almost every car sold in the last 20 years, and most drivers only discover it after getting stuck in mud, snow, or a ditch. Look at your front bumper, and on many vehicles the rear too, for a small panel or cutout marked with a tiny tow hook icon near one of the lower corners. Pop it out with a flathead screwdriver or a trim tool, and behind it is a threaded hole built into the car's frame, not just the bumper cover. The tow hook itself, a solid metal loop, is usually stored in your trunk with the spare tire and jack, and threads straight into that hole by hand, then tightens with your wheel wrench. That gives you 1 point engineered for real pulling force, looping a strap around a control arm, a subframe, or the bumper instead, the way stranded drivers do out of desperation, can bend suspension components or crack the bumper entirely, turning a 5-minute recovery into a repair bill running into the thousands. It's already in your car, completely free, and most owners never know it's there. And now, the one I promised you at the very beginning. Hack number 15. Making your AC cool down twice as fast. Hack number 15 is the trick that changes how fast your car cools down, and it comes down to a button most drivers use at the wrong moment: recirculation. On a hot, sunny day, a closed car's interior can climb more than 40 degrees above the outside temperature within about an hour, closer to an oven than a car. Most people get in, crank the AC, and hit recirculate immediately, assuming that's the fast setting. It isn't yet. With the windows up, you're just recooling that same superheated air over and over, and the compressor fights through all of it first. Here's what actually works. Roll down all 4 windows and drive with the AC on fresh air, not recirculate, for 30 to 60 seconds to flush the trapped heat out. Once you feel that first wave of cooler air, roll the windows up and switch to recirculate with the fan on high. Now the system is only recooling air that's already passed through it once, a much lighter load on the compressor, less strain on the engine, and a small but real fuel savings every time you drive on a hot day. Since the compressor is belt-driven off the engine, it also cycles faster while driving than while idling, which is why highway cruising always feels colder than a parking lot. Keep it to short bursts with passengers in back, since hours of recirculation raises humidity and fogs windows. Used right, it's about as close as your factory AC gets to a built-in cheat code.